Hey guys, my name's Ron Carter Photography. I'd like to welcome you again to the second in a series of videos that I'm doing on SEO. The first one that I actually did was an introduction on what actually SEO is and how to drive traffic to your location, to your site. We're going to get a little bit more in detail today, and what we're going to talk about is a ship without navigation. Okay, basically is what your website is if you're not getting a lot of traffic. So say for example, you're in a city like New York City, and when you're in the city, you put up, I'm going to use my name, Ron Carter Photography. I do portraits, I do headshots, and then I go in, that's it. That's what I'm going to put in for the top. That's what I'm going to put in for the title. And when I put that into the title, it kind of leaves an open slate where people can find where you're located at. So one of the things I recommend for people, and I'm going to put a link in the description where you can actually go in and open up a document and have an example of it, and you can change it as needed. And what it is, so say for example, if you're in New York City and you're a portrait photographer, and so in the title of your website, you want to have this. You want to have the geographical location. So when the search engines do a indexing, in other words, when they pick it up, they know already where you're at, but people don't know where you're at. And within the short geographical areas, say for example, if you're in Bronx in New York City, you want to put into it Bronx portrait photographer, or Bronx senior photographer, or Bronx or New York City maternity photographer. So you can put those locations in. Another thing you want to do too is in the description of it, you want to put those tags in your description. So when you put those tags in your description, you mean like you give me an example again, New York City portrait photographer, located in the city of New York, or something relative to that. And now, the next thing is in your meta tags. Now, when you go into your meta tags, one thing you got to remember is you see a lot of people go in and they go into the websites and they do this, they load it down. They're like, okay, I'm going to put in, everything I can think of. Portrait photographer, headshot photographer, we're going to put in maternity photographer. We're going to put in New York City. We're going to put in, my name, blah, 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 blah. Well, actually you have a very limited source on tags that you can use, or characters that you can use within your content of your description, within your title. And normally I think it's like 76, 67, somewhere in there, 70 range of characters that you can use within the title. You need to limit your characters down in your description as minimal as possible. And also you need to, in your meta tags or your keywords, you need to limit them in. Another thing you need to look at too is, like I was saying before, is about the size of your ship, a big and bulky ship. A lot of things people don't understand too is within the title, within the description, and within your page, there's also something that you need to understand, and it's called negative words. And these negative words can impact how your site is indexed. And the negative words would be like words like and, if, but, or. So you need to reduce down the quantity of the negative words, which allows your website to be more effectively indexed when you're putting together. Now, some people use websites such as Wix or Squarespace and others. Well, you know what? They have a limited capability as far as I understand that you can go in. But you can go in and change the title. You can go in and change the description. Okay, so these are some of the things that you can do. And we're going to go further in detail in the future. We're going to go further into it. And that's going to be more into the series. We're going to reduce the size of your ship down. We're going to make the speed better. Before we talked about, I gave you the links to where you can go and check the speed of your website. Now, Why checking the speed is very important, because people these days want instant results. They want that gratification. They want to, as soon as it comes up on your web phone, and they want that instant results to find. If your website slows down, I was looking at some sites this morning, and they were running speeds of, a speed of 20 megabits per second. Well, guess what? That's very slow. You should be up in the 90 or above range to get a quicker index. One of the things I also talked about before, we'll get more into it in the future, is also mobile first. Design your websites for mobile first. The products that I design my websites, and I've actually have a certification in web design, and I have a really good background in SEO, is Bootstrap. Okay, if you have a knowledge of how to build a simple website, go to Bootstrap, download it. There's templates that you can use, that you can modify. It's actually designed for web first and responsive first, and that's a good source too. But again, right now, the primary thing is getting to ship with the proper navigation, and that is getting your title where people can find you, and also going in, changing your description, and changing your keywords. Those are the three things that I want you to work on right now to help your website improve. Now, I'm pretty good at judging when Google, I'm not an expert, far from it, no one really knows, but I'm very, very good at it, determining when the index goes through. And what I do is I cache the page, I look at the cache in Google and see when the last time they were. So normally within a 30-day period, you should see an update, and you begin to analyze where your ranking is, if it went up or if it's still at the same point. In some cases, it may go down, so you have to make more modifications within a period of time that allows you to progress in your SEO. It's not a one-time fix, it's something that you got to stay on all the time. So look at it, go into it, but don't be afraid. Make copies of everything when you go in, and keep those copies put to the side. Example, if you're doing complete web design, I know the majority of you do this. Go in, make a copy of it, and then start making the changes, start working with it, start going to Lighthouse, going to GitHub, or wherever the search engine speed test is, or the analytics to see how your website is working, and start judging your speeds and your reactions and things. Again, I'd like to thank everyone. This is the first in the series of it that we're talking about title, description, and keywords. And then the next, what we're going to go into, responsive images, and we're going to also go into other areas such as the size of the images that you use, how to downsize your images. And also another thing a lot of people don't realize is that in the future, and they're working on it right now, is the next generation of compression for images. So what I mean for that, most people now, they know what a TIFF is, they know what a JPEG is, but do they really know what's coming in the future? And we're going to talk about that. And that's very important, because a lot of the new updates that are coming in the browsers may not fully recognize the JPEG from the past. My name is Ron. This is Ron Carter Photography, and we're talking about SEO. I'd like to thank you. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the future.